My
friend?
coaster. My little coaster.
Oh, are you doing?
I'll just do this.
Okay. He's not gonna do.
Oh, you want that?
Let's do
Okay.
that. It's big.
It's big. Do you want to be
So
in
much
front
going on
of
here,
Representative? You want to go on this
We
side?
are live.
Okay, just
Does anybody see it?
I see it, I don't hear it yet.
We don't hear it yet.
I hear it.
Do we hear? We have two.
We have 2/3 of the staff attending this.
I know.
We only have 9 staffers.
Yeah, that's good.
Because that's how important this is.
I was
These
gonna
are the
say,
best interviews, though.
Yeah, it makes you feel.
It's really good. So you can hear. You got a question, Representative, at some point? Huh?
Not yet. Oh, ask your questions, people. Come on. People, questions.
Where are you?
Where are ya?
Oh, that's you. Okay, I think we're probably going. So, I think we should start. All right. 3, 2.
Live from Jenna's Lounge in the shadow of the Wisconsin State Capitol, it's WisEyes Live on Tap, featuring Representative Jimmy Anderson.
Hey, everybody.
Jimmy, thanks very much for doing this. This is an informal way to get to know you a little bit better. I'm intrigued by the accident. You go to UW Law School. You fly home. You're on your way to celebrate which birthday?
Oh, man, that would be 2010.
Right.
So I'd be turning 26.
26, when
Yeah.
a van hits you, and tragically, your dad, your mom, and your brother, and you describe hanging upside down, knowing they were dead. So, and as a result, you're paralyzed from the neck down. Okay, let me ask you your takeaways about our healthcare system, the ACA and Medicaid first, and then I want to ask you a related question.
Sure.
Healthcare.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really important topic, especially after the vote that happened just yesterday.
Yes.
And
In the U.S. Senate.
there are millions of people that are depending on Medicaid to just make even ends meet, just to be able to know that their health care is going to be protected. Not only that, but the Affordable Care Act provides us with many of the resources and protections that we need in order to make sure that our healthcare is actually providing us with adequate healthcare. And from my own experience, I know how important that is. It was after my accident that my health insurance company, despite paying our premiums on time and doing everything right and playing by the rules, said that I was nearing my lifetime maximums and they were going to kick me off. And that I had months left of rehabilitation that was going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. My wheelchair was going to be another $50,000. My wife and I were just students at the time, and we had no idea how we were going to pay for it. It was a couple days later after that we received a letter from our health insurance company saying that the provisions of the Affordable Care Act are kicking in. They got rid of those lifetime maximums. I can honestly say that the ACA saved me. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for those protections.
My other question relates to the legal system. You were able to obtain some type of a judgment, but that in no way brings back your mom, dad, and brother. So your thoughts on the legal system, does it offer some recourse for people as tragically injured and those that have lost those that you loved?
No doubt that I would trade it all back just for another day with my family. In no way does money ever substitute love. And so, to a certain degree, yeah, it is helpful because I can pay for a wheelchair. One big example is that no private insurance in the state of Wisconsin covers in-home care when it comes to having an assistant there to help you with your needs, especially for people that are permanently disabled like I am. So that has to come out of pocket. I remember when I was on Medicaid, when I first got out of the hospital, and I was able to get the assistance that I needed, but the idea of me going back to work was nearly impossible. The idea that I would make $40,000 to $50,000 a year working a job where that $40,000 to $50,000 would then go to pay for an assistant. So the minute I started working, you get kicked off Medicaid. How do you pay for the assistant? So it was you were stuck. You were in a trap. And for too many disabled people, that's the reality. So living that life and going through those experiences, being on both sides of it, understanding how difficult it is for people to try to navigate not just our Medicaid system but our healthcare system as a whole, I think gives me a keen insight that I'm glad to bring to the Assembly.
Do you think the answer for America ultimately is the universal or the single-payer healthcare system, Representative?
I believe that. Yeah, I think that we need to move to a system that provides coverage for all. I think that single payer is one of those options that get us there. I know that there are a lot of different ways that other countries do this. I know Sweden has a way to also include private insurance for individuals that want to pay for private insurance. There are different systems throughout the world that might possibly work here in the United States. I think it's a discussion worth having.
From your website, you say this: I owed it to my family to be more than just a sad end note on an already depressing story. Is that the reason you ran for public office?
It's a big part. I think about what my family would have wanted for me if they could speak to me, if I could hear them now. I know that they would have wanted me to make something of my life. But not only that, I think I survived for a reason. And if I can use my story, if I could use my life to try to help as many other people as possible, that's all I want.
You and your wife started Drive Clear, which is a nonprofit organization. Talk about the two goals. One is recovery and the other is the backtrack. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, so what we do is when people might fall through the cracks when it comes to being injured by a drunk driver, whether insurance doesn't cover everything that it needs to cover, whether it's medical or their car insurance, we step in to try to provide assistance. I'll give one example. There was a woman who was, she pulled over the side of the road because her kid was choking in the back seat. She pulls over, jumps out, helps her kid, clears the kid's airway, and then while sells her kid in her arms, a car sideswipes her, a drunk driver. The kid's okay, just some bumps and scrapes, but she shatters her hip. She goes and she has health coverage and she gets the rehabilitation services that she needs. The problem is that when she gets back, there's an eviction notice on her door a couple days before Christmas. And insurance doesn't cover that. And so we stepped in to pay for her back rent, and so that way she'd be able to have Christmas at home with her kid. So that's one place where the nonprofit steps in to try to fill in the void. The other side is drunk driving prevention. So what we do is we provide breathalyzers for people who want to make sure that they get home safely. So we try to provide a solution that, let me put it this way, people are going to drink. And so rather than just say don't drink, we want to meet people where they are, where we acknowledge reality. And so we want to try to provide ways for people to make sure that they get home safely. So we work with a company in San Francisco that makes these breathalyzers, and we give them away for free to people that may need them.
Well, I was nervous about having this take place at a bar, so you just kind of explained that, so that we asked you ahead of time,
right?
Because I thought that was kind of inappropriate. So you're cool with, you know the culture of Wisconsin, right? So
yeah,
what else can we do to help people be aware of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think one place what we need to do is we need to start changing the culture around drunk driving. I think it's gotten too permissible. I think about California, and the idea of driving home drunk is anathema to the actual culture of the state. No one thinks of it as being, not necessarily a positive, but it's actually like a genuine negative. In Wisconsin, it hasn't gotten there yet. I think that we need to make first offense OWIs an actual criminal penalty. And I think that's
nice.
And so it's not so much about punishment, because when I talk to my fellow representatives, I tell them it should be a minor penalty. People shouldn't have to go to jail. They should go talk to a judge. They should have the opportunity to get rehabilitation if they have, or if they have problems around drinking, they should be able to go and get the help that they need.
Right.
But it signals to people that it's not just a ticket, it's a serious offense.
Yes.
You've been in office 7 months. Was it kind of as you envisioned? You're a Democrat in a legislature controlled by Republicans. Jimmy, that must be frustrating. Given the level of partisanship, you can't pass bills or amendments. Talk to me about your frustrations, well, that assumes there's frustrations.
I think it's natural to feel frustrated in a Republican-controlled legislature. So there's some things that wasn't surprising. Like I knew that I wasn't going to be able to enact a lot of the legislation that I wanted to enact. What was surprising was the degree to which Republicans refuse any legislation forward. Now they'll talk about how 90% of our bills are bipartisan. They'll let a few people co-sponsor some legislation, but I'll give you an example. I have a CBD oil bill that is it would be a fix on what the Republican Congress has already or legislature has already passed. Basically, people cannot purchase CBD oil across state lines. They'd be breaking federal law. They can't buy it over the internet. It'd be breaking federal law. So my bill would allow the manufacturer of CBD oil here in the state. The Republican legislature already said that it's fine to own. It makes no sense why you wouldn't be able to allow manufacturers so that way people would be able to actually purchase it. So to not allow a piece of legislation like that forward simply because of some ideological stance or some concern from that perspective, that's what's surprising.
If the Democrats were in control, how would it be different, realistically?
I think that what you would see is a more concerted effort to bring Republican ideas on board early on. So the Foxconn deal, I haven't seen any of the work behind the scenes. I don't know what is in the actual incentive package.
Potential $3 billion on the part of Wisconsin. Now, your press release says Wisconsin taxpayers should not be subsidizing private corporations at the expense of our children, schools, and roads. Excuse me, finish your thought.
Right, and so the idea that we could spend $3 billion of taxpayer money, of which some of that's going to be coming from my district as well, and to not bring on any Democratic voices to add to the discussion, I think is frustrating, as you described.
But how can Democrats vote against potentially 3,000 jobs in southeast Wisconsin? The addition of a major help to our economy.
So no Democrat is against the idea of actually bringing jobs to the state. My question is, given the simple math, do we want to spend between $300,000 and $1 million per job when what we've done in the past is take high-speed rail? Those are federal taxpayer dollars that we've already spent. And yet we don't want to bring those jobs here to the state, but we're willing to spend that amount of money, between $300,000 and $1 million per job, to bring Foxconn here, of which we've already seen they haven't been able to produce those jobs in other states where they've tried to make these kind of grand guarantees. So I think that we need to be smart about bringing jobs to the state, but we shouldn't be selling the entire house to bring people here.
To be fair, we don't know the exact details of the incentive package. I have a question about campaign finance. You loaned your campaign $88,000. Now, from doing some candidate interviews, including you with your primary opponents, they're kind of saying, well, we didn't have $88,000. Do you want to respond to that?
It's a situation where campaigns are expensive, and I don't like the idea that we would have to go and sell out to go and sit there and try to raise all these monies from enormous PACs or from rich individuals. I know that I'm lucky that I'm able to afford to be able to spend money on my own campaign, but I did so because I saw it as an investment in the state. I saw it as an investment in the people because I felt that it was my ideas that would be best suited for the district. And so, like you said, I got a settlement and I'm comfortable. If I can use that money to try to make other people's lives better, I'm more than happy to spend it that way.
What's your political goals? Do you want to work up your way to Joint Finance Committee and then into leadership and eventually seek higher office? You're a lawyer, so you've got a potential plan, and young.
My life up to this point has been a surprise, to say the least. I'm taking it day by day, to be honest. This was the first office that I've held, and these first 7 months. At the first month, you are trying to learn and get a hold of what the office can be and what you can do with it. Now that I've kind of got my arms around it, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. I want to be just a voice for parts of the Democratic caucus that sometimes doesn't get a voice. Whether that's, you can take that at face value, whether it's, people that are in the disabled community. But also at the same time, I just want to sit there and push my caucus to actually do the things that are being clamored for by the people in the Democratic caucus. That's really my only concern, is that I make sure that I represent them.
Before the accident, what did you envision as your career goal? You were going to finish law school, which you did, and then you were going to go on to do what?
Honestly, at the time, I was working for the DHS. And so to be able to continue my work, I was doing policy work there. To be able to continue that work, I would have been happy.
Did you plan to seek public office before the accident?
No, I was not political in any way. It was my accident that really made me realize how important it is to get involved. I voted in presidential elections, and I made my opinion heard on Facebook every once in a while, but that was the extent of it.
When you speak in the assembly, because of your unique situation, people do tend to listen, don't they? Don't you feel more heard than some others, perhaps, in your caucus?
I hope so.
Because you've got a pretty interesting story.
It's as interesting as my story is. The reason why I think it actually gets a little bit of traction is because it's reflective of so many other people here in the state. I did over 5,000 doors when I was running for office, and I remember there was one woman that I met that she was dealing with the early stages of multiple sclerosis, and we were both on the same Medicaid program where individuals would come in and provide assistance, like help that you needed, like where there was home health care workers. And she described instances where, because her hours were being so restricted because of cuts here at the state level, that she sometimes had to choose between eating or bathing. And I remembered at certain times where I would have to decide, like, well, I'm only going to get 2 meals today because it takes a little longer for someone to help me get dressed. Something that's not being considered that when it comes to how many hours somebody's going to be able to get. And so there are so many people in the state that are facing not just healthcare issues, but have parents that might be going to nursing homes or might be coming need a little bit more help during the day, that we're not talking about those issues. And so, yeah, I think people respond to me because of that, but it's because they see their own stories in my story.
Okay, we're almost out of time. 2 further questions. You disagree with the policies of Governor Walker. Who's your candidate for governor? Which Democrat are you backing?
So I don't think everyone's gotten in the race yet, right? I think we still got some more people that are decided
there's
Why, are you
4 or 5 in.
Are you gonna add your name?
Yeah, do you want to announce?
Yeah, no,
Did you say yes?
At this point, what I want to see is, I want to see some more fire, right? Like, I want to see someone that is excited about running for office, that is going to unapologetically defend the values of the Democratic Party. I want to see more of that before I make any decisions as to whether or not I'm going to be endorsing somebody. But
Neil Hall's back. I hope I'm saying that right. I think Jimmy should run. Has my vote.
Okay, that's one. There you go. All right, that seems like there's a bit more of a mountain to climb.
Maybe final question. After 7 months, then you've learned a lot, and you enjoy the job representing the 47th Assembly District.
Absolutely. Being able to bring not only my voice, but every day what I think about is what's going to be best for the people in my district, what's going to be best for the people of Wisconsin. And to have that opportunity is entirely unique, and it's not lost on me. And so the fact that I get to do this every day is a real joy.
Thank you.
Just happened today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna just go over the polls and